Hello and welcome to the Insane Gorillas podcast, where we talk about a different movie each week. This week or in the upcoming episodes, we will not have Ty on for a little bit. He's a little busy with life and everything. But this week we have my friend, the amazing Vertebral Bean 27. I cannot get your name right ever.
That's okay, man. That's okay.
But we're gonna be talking about Les Miserables or Les
However
Miserables,
the
as
hell
we
you pronounce
American
it.
people like to say. But we're gonna be talking about that movie slash
Yep.
musical, and this is our first musical that we're gonna be talking about on this podcast. So
Yep.
let's get into it. So before this, you were actually talking about how you could only really watch 40 minutes without getting sick of it. You
Right.
absolutely hate musicals. Is there a certain
Yep.
reason why you hate
Uh, you
musicals?
know, I just gotta be honest with you. I enjoy music in movies. I just don't enjoy people singing in movies. Right. So just just everybody like that. Okay, there was the first like opening scene with the people like tugging the boat or whatever like inside. I was sitting there like, okay, that was pretty cool. But then after that, it got so old so fast. Like my stamina for musicals is like it's pretty bad. I was sitting there and I was like, when we came up on this, I was sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, cool. This is this is something that I'm sure was like widely talked about. And then I was sitting there and I start watching it. I was sitting there. I'm like, oh great, it's a musical. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, the opening
So was
scene is one of my favorites, but also
oh
Les
yeah, it's so
Mis
good.
has Les Mis suffers from ups and downs because it doesn't keep pacing very well,
Yeah.
and it has an amazing cast, like you were saying before
Yep.
we started talking. You got Anne Hathaway, you got Amanda
Yep.
Seyfried, you got Russell
Yep.
Crowe, you got Hugh Jackman, you got tons of other actors that are big
Yeah.
names in Hollywood, but it for this it's I love it slash hate it. It's like one of my top three favorite musicals just because I really like those dark musicals.
Yeah.
But I'm more of I really enjoy musicals usually. But this
Hmm.
one is I love it or I hate it. It just depends
Right.
on when I'm watching it. And
Hmm.
so you don't like musicals. Do you like musicals? Do you have a certain reason you don't like this musical, or do you have an actual
Um.
musical that you do like?
I don't have any musicals that I do like just because I've just I had like I watched three different musicals and I didn't like any three. One of them was like Glee or whatever, the high school musical thing.
Glee.
Obviously everybody hates that, right? So then I was just like, okay, well everybody hates it. So then I watched these two other ones. I can't remember the names, and then I was sitting there I'm like, okay, musicals aren't just for me. I will say it was this one was a little bit different. This one, if I was sitting there, I'm like, okay, it's a musical. I'm only gonna watch 20 minutes. And I'm gonna hate it, but it got me to 40 minutes, and the beginning of the story wasn't too bad. This prisoner's freed. And I liked that how he stole from the pastor or the priest or whatever, and then the priest is like, oh, you forgot these, and then whatever, and I was like okay, and then there was the little sword fight between Russell Crowe and Hugh Jackman, except Hugh Jackman had like a plank. The
Yeah, and a
sound
piece of
the
wood.
sound design on yeah, the sound design on that and all that stuff, and the music, the action music in the back. It was pretty okay, but then like you said, the pacing is just that's really what got me. That's really what stopped me from watching it because it
It's
just
it's got the pacing of like The Godfather Part 3. Have you seen Godfather Part 3? I don't know
I
if you.
have not.
Well, in The Godfather, you start off with like this interesting story, and then you go like, okay, here's some boring exposition that's gonna be given to you straight
Gotcha.
away. It's got like a wave, like not it's got really high points, and then it's gonna go low and get really boring, and then it's gonna bring it back up. But
Mhm.
it also depends on what characters you're listening to. So as you go through the movie, you start to there's a lot more characters that are introduced, and actually, I think you watched 40 minutes, so you didn't get to the future part. So like after 10 years, it skips in like
Again.
it skips to 10 years. Yeah, it skips multiple times throughout it. But considering how
Yeah.
long this book is, this book is big, big.
That's a big ass book, yo.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
big book. So yeah, what surprises me is that they got a lot of the story in there
Yeah.
into this musical without like taking like Victor Hugo, the writer of Les Mis, or yeah, I'm just gonna call it Les Mis. He likes to get off topic a lot. He wrote Hunchback of Notre Dame also. So yeah, he tends to like to talk about Gothic architecture and go off on tangents because he's a freak about that. So
Yeah,
but
that's the thing that I noticed. The like the costume design and like the setting of the movie and the they had a really good budget and stuff. Like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be like oh yeah, this movie was shit because I don't like musicals, right? I'm not gonna do that. Russell Crowe is in it. Hugh
it's
Jackman, Anne Hathaway. Just there's a lot of good actors, and it seems like it has a good story. The pacing of it for me though, it was just and the whole thing about like me with like music, I don't like musicals that it's not that it was like super repetitive, but there was always a constant like singing thing, and I get that's what a musical is, but
yeah.
I don't know, that's just it's not for me.
So that's what I was waiting for you to say was that there's constant singing throughout this whole movie. They're literally singing every line of dialogue. And it makes me sick. That's what I remember watching Les Mis. I've watched it probably 5 or 6 times, and then this one I was like, I'm gonna critique the heck out of this thing. So I was like, okay, I'm watching. They're singing every line. Why are they doing that? Because it's just it's so.
They were singing every line, and I was sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get like no subtle like character development where it's just like they're talking. All they're doing is singing.
They're singing exposition. That's
yeah. I was sitting there, I was just like, why?
so yeah. Well,
yeah, I hate musicals, but when musicals do that, I am
have a
so
feeling
angry.
I know a musical now that you will enjoy, and I'm just gonna say it straight out: Rocket Man. You'd enjoy the heck out of that. It's about Elton John.
Yeah.
It's Taron Egerton. You'd love that one because it's not constant singing. Les Mis is just too much of that constant singing, and And the thing is, if you compare the music side by side, it's the same music for each song that they're singing.
Yeah.
It's the same chords. It's the same progressions. It's the same. So if you go on YouTube, there's a video about it. But Les Mis just repeats songs over and over again. But it's mostly the story is the good part about it. It's the good thing about it.
The story seems really good. That's what kept me in there for so long. Because like at 20 minutes, I wanted to leave, but the story was kind of carrying it, and then around like 40 to 50 minutes, the story just dropped back down. I'm sitting there just like, all right, that's it. I can't watch this anymore. Not for another hour and 30 minutes.
Well, I think the best way Les Mis works, or like the best thing about Les Mis is how it plays with themes. So I don't know if you got really into the themes. You do get into the theme of forgiveness and change.
Yeah, I like that.
Which is good, but you didn't get to the part where Javert actually goes insane about getting Jean Valjean because he thinks he's a criminal the whole time. Well, Les Mis is a good example of how we as humans can change, and if we want to change, we gotta be able to change. We gotta want change to be able to change. That's basically what it is. So you didn't, you watched it when Jean Valjean, which is Hugh Jackman's character, goes and kind of like is like after he gets the silver and then he starts singing exposition and then he goes into a full on singing crazy insanely loud in like a graveyard outside of a church, like how he wants to change because well he thinks God has a plan for him, basically. Um,
Yeah.
so this what Les Mis touches on religion a lot because that's Victor Hugo, I think, was religious. So a lot of his stuff tends to touch on religion. Um, but I like how it's a good example of how change and how certain people don't believe that people can change. So throughout the whole story, you see that Javert is constantly going after Jean Valjean. It's
Mhm.
I'm gonna say that over and over again. Jean Valjean, Javert, there's JJ's, but they're constantly going after each other. Well, Jean Valjean just wants to live his life. He
Yep.
wants to help people. He wants to be better. He wants to make the world a better place. After he well, he stole a piece of bread. That's his
He kind of
crime. So,
he kind of wants to be like the pastor, you know, just
yeah,
for like forgive, like, you know, forgive and forget, right?
yeah. He wants to forgive. He wants to basically make
And
the
just
world
like
a better
help
place.
everybody out.
So that's when.
Yeah.
So as the story progresses, he kind of helps out Fontaine, Anne Hathaway's character.
Yeah.
And this is really where you see like, oh, this is my chance to actually help someone in need.
Yeah.
So he helps Fontaine by finding his daughter, or her daughter, and
Yeah.
basically taking on her daughter as his own daughter,
Yeah.
which ends up being Amanda Seyfried's character, Cosette. I think it's Cosette. Yeah, I think that's all the names I really know
Yeah.
from the actual Leavis. There's a lot of different names, but you missed Sasha Sasha, Sasha. Is it Baron? He is the hotel manager with man. It's actually a good. They have a hotel scene that you missed, I think.
So the hotel manager with the isn't that the scene right after the when you meet the girl's daughter
Yeah.
who's like sweeping in the house? Yeah, I think I think I at least made it
Is
to
it the
the
Master of
hotel.
the House song? That one's
I
actually
like
pretty good.
I like the I'll just describe what I saw. Something pretty important. Santa just getting like drug into the fucking hotel, and fucking they're giving them like fucking whiskey and shit, and they're showing them the prices for, you know, like look, touch.
Were they
and then a bunch
singing
of
as
other stuff.
they were singing as they were all doing as this was all going
Yeah.
on? It's like Master of the House, whatever.
Yeah, they're always singing.
Yeah, but you can tell when it's actually a song and when they're just like, I'm gonna sing for the heck of it.
Yeah.
But well, that was a full-on song. I think that's one of the best cinematography. Like, that's some of the best cinematography for like a
Yeah.
for like a musical, because you constantly see them messing with people, and then also throwing the cat in the meat grinder.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just really good. Well, that's I believe that the music from Les Mis is overrated. But
Yeah.
the cinematography in this movie is amazing. Like,
Mhm.
if you really want to test how long you can last on Les Mis, watch one of the live performances of it that they recorded.
Oh,
But
God.
there's a performance where they just stand in place the entire time as their characters, and it's just.
Oh god.
I think you should be moving. You should have mics connected to your face. But
Okay, you should
yeah,
be like, you know, giving the crowd energy, the audience energy and life. Just
Yeah.
standing at, unless they're like social distancing, then I guess.
yeah. And this is where I come into my like I love / hate it. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the themes, but I hate the music. Like, it's some of the worst music from a musical I've ever heard. Like, it's just I do like a dark tone to a story, and Les Mis kind of has that, while at the same time touching on some big themes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're not gonna end up watching it. I know that, but
Right.
at the end of the movie, Javert ends up killing himself
Yeah, I figured that probably happened.
because he can't catch. And Russell Crowe does really good as like a performance, but he's really bad at singing. I think a lot of the characters in this are like, it's too nasally. Like, whenever they sing, it's just. They use a lot of nose.
that was probably the worst thing about this musical. A lot of the characters can't sing. but it's a fucking musical that just doesn't stop singing. So it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I, I
That's
really
that's
agree.
pretty much that's pretty much why I hated it.
Well, I like Hugh Jackman's singing's really good, and Anne Hathaway has
Yeah.
some pretty good singing. Uh, Russell Crowe, absolutely terrible. But I
I
don't
was
see Russell. I don't see Russell Crowe as like a singer or like. I see him as more of a performer than a singer, and
right.
he
I
does a good
was
police officer. So
I was sitting there and I was just like, and yeah, you're right. He does do a very good like a police officer. Uh, I was sitting there just like, man, I wonder what the you know, the whole like the production of this like movie cost, because I'm sure they like, you know, got some like vocal coaches in there for each individual actor to try and like, you know, get the tones going and, you know, trying to make them sound good, right?
hmm
And then, you know, post effects and all that other good jazz, which I'm sure they, you know, with vocal actors, you know, they were able to make that production budget a little or sorry, the editing part a little less lengthy, right? Because
yeah,
you know, if you know, that's like the thing about like singing. If you're like a good singer, when it comes to editing, it won't be, you know, it won't be as long because, you know, you already got good tones. You know, you're in the right key, you're right pitch, right? But then, you know, fucking just I can only imagine what would have happened if they had like not gotten like any like singing coaches out here, and if all these people, all these guys, all these like actors just started singing, fucking the effects team would have to work so long just to make sure that everything, you know, sounds good and sounds natural. Because that's the biggest like accomplishment, is trying to make it sound natural from them, right?
hmm Well, you were talking about effects, and it made me think about the visual effects. You know, the
Yeah.
boat at the beginning is like it's that
Mhm.
that opening scene is really what draws people in to want to watch the movie because it's just this massive boat
Mhm.
they're making slaves kind of or prisoners slash slaves pulling this boat into the thing, and it's just that heavy. It's just
Yeah.
look down. It's just it's
Yeah.
just amazing.
No.
It pulls you
Yeah.
in.
This movie's budget. Oh, it was so good. Now the literally it sucks because the costume design was good, the sets that were designed were good, the story of it is really good. It's just the constant scening, and it just ruins it for me. I know there's some people out there that just that are all over musicals and they love them, and you know they can, you know, I'm sure there's fans out there that are like, they're like, this idiot, I haven't seen the whole fucking thing yet. I was sitting there, I'm like, this fucking idiot right here couldn't sit through it because it's constant fucking singing in my ear. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. It's
Like the story really seemed good, and you know they had plenty of money. Like, you know, the opening scene, you know, with the water splashing around, they're tugging on it. You know, that was really cool at the beginning. But you know,
I
like
have their budget. I
the
have
video
their
that
budget.
the
Uh,
video that you said where they were using the same chords and stuff. When you listen to the same like chords over and over again, it's gonna pain you. It's gonna pain you a lot, especially if your ear is like trained to music.
yeah. What is it? Their budget was $61 million.
Their budget was $61 million.
Yeah, they made 441.8 million US dollars. This is all in US dollars.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Considering, first of all, you have that famous name Les Mis, uh,
Right.
just
Yeah.
straight off the bat. So that's really what drags people in to go see it. And then you got people in their seats. You have that opening scene, and then yeah, which I remember when this movie came out, it was like you have to go see it and stuff. And I
Right.
think the ratings have gone down on it recently. So
More critiquing.
yeah, we're being more like critics. So um,
Yeah.
so yeah, the singing is what really throws a lot of people off on it. There
Yeah.
are some musicals that I really like that, and most of them don't have that singing throughout the whole thing. Disney musicals sometimes do it, like Lion King doesn't do it. Like they don't sing every little line. They have their exact songs and when to sing it. But then you have like I think it's Beauty and the Beast does the like, okay, I'm gonna sing a couple sentences and then we're gonna open up into a full on musical. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, this one does it constantly. Where
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast kind of like, okay, we're just gonna talk at a table. Les Mis does, let's just sing. Let's just
Let's
sing
just sing the whole
everything.
time.
Let's just
You
do
know,
it.
you know, even the line, even the just us and they're just like, I think we're about to have like an emotional moment, and then they're just singing. I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, this is fucking ruined.
Yeah. Uh,
When I was
especially
sitting there,
Fontaine's death is one of the big examples.
I was sitting there, and when I was like just sitting here watching it, after that first scene, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Now we're gonna get into the story a little bit more, and then the fucking the pastor is like singing lines back to the thief. And I'm like, all right, I don't know about this.
He's singing to the police officers.
Yeah,
Now he should start out by talking and then slowly go into singing, like when it
right,
goes on to that song.
right.
But he's singing the entire time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, which
I was sitting there. Yeah, it's really bad, especially since I don't like musicals in the first place. But this one, oh, bad offender. It really seemed like it had a really great story, right? But just the constant singing. I mean,
yeah.
obviously, some people liked it from the how much they pulled in from the sales.
Well, I like it for the story. That's all. And I keep saying that over and over again. But
Right.
the beginning is like one of the more exciting parts. You got that. You start to learn exposition and everything about everyone, and then the middle is where it gets really slow, like really slow, and then it picks up with like the revolution and everyone starting to get ready to fight.
Yeah.
Which you didn't get to, which is one of
No,
the best parts of the movie.
Unfortunately, I did not get to that. I did not make it to there.
Yeah.
I think I made it to the beginning of the middle part, and I was like, all right, it's too slow.
Yeah, the
I'm
middle
done.
slows down a lot because then you're like introduced. It's what they do. They kind of do it like in sections or parts. So you got the first part. You get the like, okay, Cosette's a little kid, like a little girl now, and this is her mom, and it's basically around Jean Valjean and Cosette. So you have that entire part where it's basically exposing and like telling a story about all these characters and trying to get you to know them, and then it pauses, and 10 years later,
Right.
more exposition. Okay, this is the people wanting to start a rebellion and a revolution, and then it slowly goes into like, okay, they're setting it up, and then part 3, which starts off with I think one of the best songs is "One Day More." It's one of the best songs in the whole thing. Because it's just a bunch of different cast members are singing. I think it's one of the best songs in the entire Les Mis movie, play, everything, because it's everyone singing at one time. But and then you get into that part 3, which starts off with that song, and it's just goes immediately into like, okay, we're gonna start off a battle, exposing more characters, telling you more of their stories, and then it starts killing them off. So,
Yeah.
and then
I like how you said when we were talking about it skips 10 more years. I was sitting there, I'm like, it skipped again.
it does it multiple times.
I mean that yeah, they gotta put a lot into they gotta like compress all that down into like a single movie that's like, not gonna be like 4 hours long.
Yeah, what is it?
I'm surprised that they did this in like 2 hours and 30 minutes, which is pretty standard, right, for like movies. So that's really impressive that they were able to crunch all that in.
What is it? It chapter 2, chapter 1 and chapter 2 are both, I think, about 2 hours and like 13 minutes long.
Yeah.
4 hours and like 20 minutes total. This movie or this book has 1,247 pages compared to the It novel has 1,100.
Yeah.
Yeah, it squeezes it into a measly 2 hours and a half. Or it's 2 hours and a half, right? Yeah, 2 hours and
Yeah.
I have it right here. 2 hours and 40 minutes, which I don't know if that includes credits or not because I think the credits are pretty long on this movie. But considering how much they put, like content-wise, into this one movie, it's pretty impressive. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the actors they didn't know how to sing that well. Hugh Jackman's the closest I think to actually being like a real good singer, but he's also
Yeah,
like he's more
he
polished. He came from a musical
right.
background, so
Hmm.
yeah. Before he
I
was
was
the
gonna say
Wolverine, he was a musical.
the vocal coach came in and was just like, "This is Hugh fucking Jackman, bro." Like, yo, let me just hear what you got. And then Hugh Jackman's like, and he's like, you know what? Fire me. I don't need to be here right now.
Have you seen Greatest Showman?
Uh, no, but
I
I've heard all
I
about it.
think you'd
And like
like that one also because they don't sing every
constantly.
they don't sing constantly. There are a
I
couple that
know.
I think that I know you will not enjoy, and now that I know that you don't enjoy Les Mis, there are a couple I know that you won't enjoy. I don't think you'll
Yeah,
enjoy Phantom of the Opera, even though it's got some really good music in it. But
yeah. Phantom of the Opera is like
you
one of
won't
those
enjoy Cats.
classics.
Cats is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, cats just it fucking looks terrible, and I bet it sounds terrible too.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it's it's one of those movies that really suffers from pacing. But what is it? I'm trying to think of what I want to say. But I think the characters that really push the story forward is Jean Valjean and Javert. While that revolution is all going on in the background. But those are the two characters leading the entire thing. What is it? There's a the Stars. That song is sung by Javert, and that song, even though the cinematography is beautiful, that song is absolutely the worst sung song in this whole movie. I know
Yeah.
you didn't get to that, but he's like singing it on top of a building, and it's
Oh
like
gosh.
uh, it's just him singing about how he's gonna get Jean Valjean, even if it takes him his whole life. Uh, but also, one of the things that is really funny is that he doesn't recognize Hugh Jackman's character immediately after meeting him as the mayor. But then he's like, "Oh, this guy's strong and he can lift this giant wagon. Oh, that's the guy I'm looking for."
When he looked at that wagon, I was sitting there just like, oh no, he's gonna know who he is. A man of your age lifting such a wagon, but like singing.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like, oh
A
my
man of your
gosh,
age
bro.
lifting a wagon.
Yeah, I was like, bro, please.
Yeah, that's definitely don't watch this movie if you really think musicals suffer from just constant singing. Now,
Yeah,
there are a couple good musicals where they don't do that. Jersey Boys is another good one that doesn't do singing all the time. Mostly any of the musicals that are about musicians, those are all musicals. So, what is it? Walk the Line with Johnny Cash. That's a good
that's a
one.
good one. Yeah,
You like that musical?
yeah, that's a good one.
Nice. Hey, we found something you like. So if you like Walk the
Right.
Line, you'll like Jersey Boys, which kind of. Do you like mafia movies?
Ye- yeah, kinda. I don't know.
Do you like
It
Christopher
really,
Walken?
yeah.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher
He's in Jersey
Walken.
Boys.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he sings in Jersey Boys.
Scenes of Josie Boys.
He sings in Jersey Boys. Yeah. What is it? Rocket Man is another. Well, we've talked about that one. Taron Egerton's like isn't constantly singing, but it like goes into like Elton John music all of a sudden. There are a lot of good musicals that like people I think expect musicals to be like Les Mis. They're not all the time. Les Mis just suffers from it. It's all the same music played over and over again throughout the entire thing, and then, but yeah, it's just everyone thinks like a musical is just a constant barrage of like singing every line that that is in the movie. Um, but I don't know if I want to talk too much more about this. I do enjoy this movie, but I enjoy the actors and everything else. The cinematography is amazing. The visual effects are really realistic. But it just suffers from a music standpoint because I do not like the music from Les Mis. I do like the music from Phantom of the Opera, but those songs are a lot more polished. Like for this one, it's just the same thing over and over again. Phantom of the Opera is like, okay, here's this song that's gonna be all da 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 da. It's gonna be really deep and dark, and it's gonna set up everything else in the future. But then you get the really lighthearted ones that turn dark, but a lot of it's dark, dark, dark. So, did you have any other things you wanted to say about this movie?
Nope, I do not have anything else that I'd like to say about this movie. I will say my rating here is unfortunately going to be biased, just because I have a certain disliking towards musicals, and this one, I've never, I've gone through some musicals, and the ones that constantly sing, oh man, no thank you, just absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Uh, yeah, but I'm just gonna tell you that not every musical is like this one. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into ratings, shall we? Um, do you want to start, or do you want me to start? I won't be
You can go
offended by
ahead.
your rating, by the way.
Yeah, no,
I know this movie is it's iffy. It's love it or hate
yeah.
it. So I'm gonna
Uh,
give it. Do you
Go
want
ahead.
to?
Yeah, yeah. No,
You
no,
said
you
you
go
said
ahead
me,
first.
and then
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry, my
okay.
bad.
I'm gonna give this movie a 6.5
6.5. Yeah,
because I like the actors. I like the cinematography. I like the writing. I like the story. I like the themes. The only thing holding it back is that they sing every word in the movie.
yeah.
If you
Absolutely.
do want, I am gonna recommend something. Before we get into your review, if you do
Yeah.
want a non-musical version of Les Mis, there is one with
Mhm.
Liam Neeson
Oh, really?
as Jean Valjean.
Oh my goodness.
That one's it's darker than this one, by the way. It's a lot darker.
Well, yes, of course. I'm not singing every fucking constant.
Yeah, but I definitely recommend if you want the story of this,
Mm.
like Les Mis, go
Yeah.
watch that one. If you want music and you want like a musical, you want them singing every line of the movie, watch this one.
Yep.
So
Yeah, for my rating on this movie, I'm gonna give two ratings here because I want to give the movie a chance. My biased rating for this fucking movie, I at 20 minutes I wanted to leave. That is a fucking 3 out of 10 from me. That is, if your movie does that to me, oh fucking no. And then my honest opinion, if I just look at the movie as the way it is and how much I saw and then how much I just learned from tell me the whole the whole story arc going on in the entire movie, I would have to say if they weren't constantly singing, because I was sitting there just waiting for some some back and forth dialogue, but it was just constant singing, right? And I was sitting there just like, okay, so let's ignore all that. Let's take into account cinematography, costume design, set production design, actors, and how much effort the actors are putting in, how much fun the actors are having. I was sitting there just like, okay, so this is in all honesty, trying to my best ignore the constant scene. I would have to say a 5.5 out of 10.
yeah,
If in fact they had taken, I mean, it's still a little biased, but if they had taken some time, maybe mix up some dialogue in there, and then give it some little more oomph to it. I think this probably could have been an easy 7 out of 10. I know that's not a high rating, but it's certainly better than the 5.5 out of 10.
yeah. What is it? Oh, talking about like them singing every line, it was reminded me of like the first 40 minutes, like something that could clearly have just been dialogue when
Yeah.
when they find out Fontaine has a child in the shop.
Yeah.
That could have
Oh
just
my.
have been
That
dialogue,
could
but they
have,
were just
yeah.
all singing in a group.
Watching now, so now I'm just like, I'm like, yes. I'm sure the man who's upstairs is not hearing these people just fucking sing their fucking lungs out, right?
And then the guy's reaction is also singing.
Right. Yeah.
He's
I
not
was
like
like,
"come with me" or just says "come with me." He sings. Oh, just
yeah. I was sitting there, just like, oh god, he's singing now. I was sitting there waiting for him to just like break it up and be like talking normal, but then he started singing. I'm like, oh fuck me.
It's like singing is contagious in this movie.
Yeah, singing. No, no, no. So Les Mis is actually just like a cover up for like a singing disease that's like affected a town. Like, do you know how they have they're rolling the carts out with the bodies on them? That they got infected with the singing disease. So they're actually all wilting away.
Come out and bring your dead. It's the holy grail. Just,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
but non-biased rating 5.5 out of 10, biased rating 3 out of 10, absolute shit. But
Yeah.
anyways, obviously, as you've said, and as I'm sure you'll say, these opinions are our ratings are subjective,
Yep.
right? The only way you're gonna know whether this movie, if it clicks with you, if you like it, good. It's fine and dandy and all that stuff. And some of you might hate it. The only way you're gonna figure that out though is if you go watch it yourself.
Yep. That's what we say every time. Go watch the movie yourself. Definitely recommend watching Les Mis. If you're really not into musicals, there's the Liam Neeson version. Go ahead and watch that.
Yep.
So yeah, you want to get into recommendations? Your pick is next week.
Yep.
Uh,
My pick's gonna be Maniac Cop.
and we're gonna do this over the next couple of weeks because there's multiple Maniac Cop movies. They're like a horror
That's
movie.
right.
They're
It's
look insane.
I have no idea if it's gonna be good or bad. All I'm gonna say is that when I'm on TV and it's October and I have AMC on, I have not once seen Maniac Cop. The time that I saw that movie like premiering was when I was on vacation. I can't remember the channel that it was on, and I only saw like 10 minutes of it. So I wanna see. I have no idea if I'm picking like this movie's so bad that it's funny, or if I'm picking like a genuinely good like horror movie. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. So what is it? My recommendation is actually good Russell Crowe movie, and it's gonna be Gladiator. Gladiator is one of my all-time favorite movies. Go ahead and watch it. Make sure to look closely because you can see like an airplane in the sky in one scene, even though it takes place in like gladiator times, ancient Greece, or not ancient Greece, ancient Rome. It takes place in that time. You can see there's a lot of problems with it, but overall the story's absolutely great. It's a good Russell Crowe performance. I don't think Les Mis is his best performance at all. But that's our podcast for this week. Tune in next week for Maniac Cop. It'll be on our YouTube channel. We might be able to stream it. It's going to be probably later in the day if we do. So I guess that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, go watch Maniac Cop. Go watch this movie.
Let us know in the comments, what your opinions were about it.
Yeah, tell us if you absolutely hate musicals, or if you're like one of those straight up like musical freaks.
Let's go see Shrek.
Yeah. Shrek the musical is still on our list. We got to do that at some point.
Oh no. Like as long as there's some dialogue and not constant singing, I think I'll be fine. I think I can make it through that one. That and Shrek. Who doesn't love Shrek?
Yeah. Okay. Let's say bye. Bye.
See you later, guys.
See ya.